Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another magnificent episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. In the second quarter, we have that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a man that many men wish they can be, and many women wish they can be with. Because let's be honest, there's not a lot of people. Matter of fact, to my knowledge, there's no man that could do it like him. And not only that, he graduated from the Nightmare Factory Class 3. And he was victorious at the Student Showcase 3 that followed. Everybody, welcome to the show. A man that no other man is smart like, strong like, charismatic like, the StoryBook Prince Gaston.
Woo! Pleasure to be here.
Gaston, we've been looking forward to having you on. We've seen your match. We saw your match at the Student Showcase 3 against a guy who everybody was raving about, Joey Silver, and it seemed like you wouldn't have pulled it off, but you actually did, and you came out with the win, and you've pretty much been kicking butt ever since then. But how you been otherwise?
Man, I've got to tell you guys, life has been wonderful lately since I graduated from the Nightmare Factory. I can't really complain about anything. A lot of victories, a lot of traveling for sure, and a lot more, I guess you could say, a lot more spotlight getting put on Gaston lately. That's made me feel very, very good.
Awesome. That's great to hear, man. That's great to hear, especially with a lot of traveling. That's awesome as well. You know something? I'm really truly hoping that you actually get to go overseas, France, England, Germany, even go to Japan. If you get to go to Japan, I say, hey, take that book in with a smile and go for it and embrace it as well.
Oh, I have too many friends that would never forgive me if I did not accept an invitation anywhere near Japan, let alone actually inside it with some of those people. That's an opportunity that Gaston would never miss.
Yeah, definitely. And also make sure you get your Ribera Steakhouse jacket too. I mean, they're not going to check for saying this, but I would be remiss if I did not, mention that as well.
Oh, the trip's not complete unless you have one of those steak jackets. And if you leave it behind, then it didn't happen.
Yeah. So funny thing, I don't know if you ever met this guy yet. Maybe you might meet him in one of your future travels. But and he's probably gonna kick my butt if he ever hears me say, even though he probably doesn't know who I am. But Hammerstone of MLW,
Alexander Hammerstone.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
He said he got it, but he couldn't fit his arms through it. So I was like, yeah.
So that dude is as big as like 5 men put together, and shame on him for not getting the right size. Is all I'll say about that.
I always call him Thor. Like if Chris Hemsworth ever gives up that role of Thor, I would definitely hit up Marvel. Hey Marvel, look, there's this guy called Hammerstone. Book him. Trust me, he's the right look for that character.
And not to throw too much attention away from myself and onto him, but that is a guy that when a lot of the places that I frequent lately are over there in Georgia, and that is home for that man for the most part, and that is easily where I can hopefully find him with like the IWE promotion out there in Augusta, Georgia. Oh yeah, that's one of his homes, and I have not looked away since I first discovered them, and that's a hopefully soon to be, fingers crossed, place for Gaston.
Awesome. So I gotta ask you, man. So how did you become a fan of? How did Gaston, the StoryBook Prince, become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the main event or the match that you saw that had you hooked?
Okay, so this is the shenanigans thing about that. So for anyone that has watched Gaston, that has seen Gaston work or seen a promo, even just a photo of me, you have a pretty good idea of this is what This is what that storybook prince is, kind of thing. What got Gaston into pro wrestling is Sting. Clearly, I am nothing like Sting, not even in the slightest. Gaston did not grow up to be Sting. Gaston grew up to be Jeff Jarrett and The Miz. Um, but that is my childhood. That is my childhood hero. I've never met him. Would love to meet Sting. It would have to be in a co-worker capacity because Gaston is not a fan. Gaston is a performer. But the man they call Sting, the early 90s WCW is bleach blonde hair, colors. That is what drew me in. He was my everything. Could not look away from him for a second. I wanted to know everything Sting was doing. I didn't miss Nitro. I never missed Saturday mornings. Like that's who I wanted to be, and that's who drug me into this. And then as time goes on, I'm growing up from a little kid to a teenager to the adult man I am today. And it's not just Sting anymore. It is people. It's people like The Miz for further along, even slightly before The Miz. It's people like Jeff Jarrett. I feel like Ric Flair is an obvious, but it wasn't until I'm closer to being adult when I'm watching The Miz and I'm like, you're entertaining. You're all entertaining. You are this style of larger than life personality. And while I didn't have the words from when I was younger, now that I'm older, I do know that is what's drawing me into you. It's just the big personality and the entertainments that have made me stick to you. I enjoy watching you. I enjoy listening to you speak. I enjoy watching what you can do in the ring. That's not the common, look at me, I lift 500 pounds, or I can do 40 backflips in a row. Nothing against people that's their shtick. To Gaston, that's not what's entertaining. It was always the original technical move set that guys like Ric Flair, like Jeff Jarrett, like The Miz, that they had to have to work for the body size that they have. And then the voices that they would have, the words that they would speak to make you not look away from them. They always had your attention. They always sucked you back in. And as I got older, it was that kind of entertainment is what stuck to Gaston, which again, Sting is my childhood hero, but these other guys are the reason that Gaston decided to take his first bumps and start following this as a serious adult profession. A lot of different things to mix in that pot for sure, which, I mean, hey, the more creativity, the more outside sources that you pull in to make yourself, I think the better. But it's definitely not a this one person, this one match, this one thing. It is a life experience that kept giving to me the older that I got, and it never let go.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, Sting was definitely something with the blonde hair and the makeup back then.
Oh, and his personality could just grab you too. Like I get that he had the muscles and he had that look that people like. But when Sting spoke, you listened, and when he didn't speak, you listened harder. Like that's a type of presence that a lot of people just don't have. That I consider very important. But that's the little things that. Oh, of course, this is why I look and respect someone like this rather than these other 40 guys that just put on a pair of boots and they were there. Yeah, but they weren't bringing me in.
Yes, it's funny how Sting was an awesome person, is an awesome person in the ring, and I even heard he's outside. Actually, we had the honor of actually interviewing the man that brought him into the business. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy, Rick Bassman. He brought in Sting and Ultimate Warrior, and I had the honor of having him on the show, and he actually answered my question as to what he thought of them when they first came in, and then what he thought of them as they became where they are. Well, unfortunately, the Ultimate Warrior passed away 8 years ago, but what he thought of them, during their success and so on. And I even pitched my own. Sometimes from time to time, I tend to play armchair booker, and I was saying, man, I could have written a cool WrestleMania match for Sting and Ultimate Warrior versus DX, and it would have been cool and whatnot. And that was the one last thing I wanted. That was the one last thing I wanted Ultimate Warrior to do: meet up with Sting and just have a one-off tag team match. Even though they did it back in '98, I just wanted it again, just one more time.
So you say you playing armchair booker. So how many of us don't do that in our everyday lives? I'm right there with you because, like, for what would you say? Like when they had that back in the '90s, I want that's the star then. I want the legends now, and I'm right there with you. Like, Ultimate Warrior, like you said, it's been about 8 years. But man, if this was 8 years ago, this is Warrior and Sting as the legends that they were. And if I could have just had that one more time tag team match of that, you guys were great 20 years ago. Think of all the knowledge and experience that you have now of how much better it would be. And it's definitely, especially with Warrior's case, just a awful missed opportunity.
Yeah, it definitely was. So have you gotten growing up? Did you ever get to? Oh, yeah, you said you haven't gotten to meeting him yet. Hopefully
Mm,
you do.
I
And
and that's the thing. If it ever happens, it will never be, if I can help it, it will never be a crossing in the airport, shake your hand, nice to meet you, or anything like that. It will be, oh, hey, so here's a guy who's going to be working with you now. It's the only way I will allow it. No other way is good enough.
I'm definitely hoping that you actually get to do that, whether it's as an opponent or hey, maybe even a tag team partner. You never know.
I'd,
You know,
I'd be I'd be incredibly happy both ways.
yeah. It's funny how you mentioned your favorite was Sting. My favorite was well, one of my four favorites was Ultimate Warrior. And have
Mhm.
never, of course, I never got to meet him, but I did get to meet one half of my first ever favorite tag team, the Rockers, Marty Jannetty. Got to
Oh,
meet him completely. And I know I'm a fan, but I normally try not to like mark out like, oh my god. But Marty Jannetty, I was like, man, you and Sean were like my first ever favorite tag team,
mhm.
man. You guys were awesome. Thank you for what you did. And he was pretty cool about it, and whatnot. And I even got to take a picture with him. That was a great moment I experienced as a fan as well. And it's always crazy. Like you meet you watch these people growing up, and then when you meet them, it's like,
Mhm.
like I used to watch you every weekend doing your thing in the ring,
It's
and
it's very different, and it's very different and very just, okay, this isn't a face on my TV anymore that I sometimes pretend isn't real because I'm watching on my television like every other TV show out there. It's like, this is real. You're right in front of me. I'm touching your hand. I'm taking these bumps with you. I'm hitting these ropes with you. It's such a, well, for lack of a better word, it's such a surreal experience of, I can't believe this is happening, or I did this with this person, and it wasn't just a hey, how you doing, or I'm over here fanning out, because I'm just like you. Anyone that I've ever met backstage at a show or from training recently was like, I can't believe that you are here standing in front of me and we are locking up right now, and you are helping me learn something, or you just wanted to try something out and you wanted to practice with me and improve with me. And it's like, no, this is my real life. This is not my armchair booking daydream anymore. It was like, this is happening and I can't believe it.
yeah, that's awesome. So growing up, did you get to go to any of the wrestling events like WWE, Impact, WC, like um, Ring of
So
Honor, any of those?
so I have only been, oh goodness, I think I have only been to three shows in my entire life. Uh, Two SmackDowns that were taped, and an Impact that was just a house show. We I'm not saying that we were I'm not saying that we were homeless poor, but what we spent our money on in my family was, we're going to be taken care of and we're going to be comfortable, but there was not a lot left over for other things. I was always more than satisfied to be watching the television set that I had at home and enjoying myself. And I was over the moon when I got to go somewhere to see an event in person. But geez, growing up, most of my life, that money is just not there for things like that. Comfortable and taken care of. I don't think I wanted for anything at all, but little privileges like that, little luxuries, I guess it was is a better word for that. Little luxuries like that just were not in the cards for my family. But I don't think that I missed out on anything. But the three times I got to go, oh my goodness, is it so different from what you were feeling. And of course, nowadays I am a part of the show, and I just like not meeting someone as a fan, nice to meet you. I have to be a part of the show. I could probably go and watch things now, but I just can't let myself do it. It doesn't feel right because I'm a performer now and not a fan. But growing up, oh man, the 3 times that I went, and one of them was like a graduation gift. I was so excited because that was the TNA Impact Wrestling one that we went to. So I'm watching let's see here. This is around 2008. So I'm watching AJ Styles in person for the first time. I'm watching Christian for the first time in person, and I am over the moon of not just, oh, I can't believe I'm seeing this in person, but also, okay, this is what these people look like in real life. This is how big they really are. This is how tall they really are. I'm seeing these moves right in front of me. I think I can do this. I think I can handle this. I think I can hold my own with these size. It while the how do I put this? While the dream, I guess you could say, was always there because I've been watching ever since I was born. The definite realistic epiphany of I could actually do this wasn't really coming until I was graduating high school. I'm watching it right in front of me as a fully adult man and thinking, no, I think I can realistically do this just like these guys. And then you move on forward.
That's awesome. Give me a second. I'm having some noise over here.
Oh, you're totally fine.
Man, you're talking about Sting, man. What was your favorite iteration of Sting, man? Was it the Beach Blonde one? Was it the Crow? Was it the Joker one?
Okay,
You
so
know,
you're going to get a lot of this from me when it comes to specifics because so people have like their Mount Rushmore wrestlers and things like that, and I don't think I have a hard answer on anything. I'm definitely a man that enjoys his bright colors and that look, and that's my 80s, early 90s surfer hair Sting. Um, when it comes to being an adult now and appreciating what a presence someone can have on television, that's the Crow Sting, not doing anything, but also here you are right with him. I have had so many people do a thumbs down when it comes to Joker Sting. Joker Sting to me was like, oh my goodness, it's like I'm getting my 90s personality back to the body of that Crow Sting. Because I mean, I from the get-go, we can all everybody knows that that's kind of like a mesh of the two, but it's also with all that life experience and experience in front of a television camera and knowing how to use your moments and your promos and your words. And it was just, you haven't seen Sting try to be so characterly entertaining in so long. And to me, that was Joker Sting, and I loved it so much. I'll never be able to pick a single iteration of Sting because even so, like those 3 Stings that you added right there is not the AEW Sting that we're getting right now, but it's just as wonderful. And a lot of that appreciation comes from not just helping younger talent, but taking a more serious, darker side of Sting that we hadn't seen before. Because right before this AEW Sting is WrestleMania Sting for all of a hot minute, but then ending with Joker Sting and more charismatic Sting before the end of that Impact run. There's just so many good things that you can take from each iteration of him that it just feels wrong for me to say, oh no, this one is the favorite, because that's just not something I can do. I'll tell you my favorite qualities about each part, but they're all way up here together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I gotta ask, man. So you've been to the WB shows. You know, you cheering your favorites. You win the guys. Now, how did your journey go from wrestling fan to now the Storybook Prince Gaston? Like, how'd you end up at the Nightmare Factory, and how was the student showcase and so on?
Man, that is, I don't know if we have enough time for all that. It's a very long amount of years. Um, I definitely, so as I mentioned before, that it's like the summer after I graduated, seeing that TNA Impact show, thinking, wow, I think I could really do this. There is a lot of years of I am shorter, smaller than most people. That's just how the genetics are. Because I'm probably in, not that I look like Alexander Hammerstone, but I'm easily after the factory, literally in the best shape of my life. And I'm surprised I'm even as big and athletic as I am now, because that is not 18-year-old Gaston. Um, A lot of those years are me trying to get in that shape. I know what a professional athlete should be looking like, should be able to do, and that's me trying my best to get there while I'm looking for someone to teach me. And coming from a lot of the southern states, quality places to train, and I think that's very important. Quality places to train with quality names to with the experience to back it up. Um, oh goodness, a good geez, like 10 or 12 years ago. That's not common. I'm thinking within the last I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years. Now you're finding a lot of people that you watched on television growing up are opening up schools across the country. And I really do think you have your pick of the litter nowadays, and you're gonna get those solid fundamentals, those solid basics for the actual physical part of wrestling, as well as creating a character and developing it, things like that. Those weren't around when I was looking around, and they weren't around for years. And all I could think to do was just hopefully try to put my body in a shape that would be able to prepare for it, because it's easily a good 5 or 6 years later before I found in Georgia a place called the WWWA4 that was owned and run by Mr. Hughes from back in the 90s, if anybody remembers way back when, WWF. And to me at that time, Mr. Hughes had that history and that quality from not just working with The Undertaker and a bunch of other people. He had his time for his spotlight. He knew what he was doing, and he knew he knew how to explain it to you very well. And after talking with him on the through emails, and they had a 4-day camp there. It was like, okay, I'm almost in my mid-20s. I know I'm already taking too long. It's now or never. Can I handle this first bump? And I went to the 4-day camp of the WWA4 down in Georgia, and it was. They have 4 rings at the time. They had 4 rings in there. They had plenty of students training, and some who were very, very good at this as well. I would be remiss to not say that their student quality of me coming in and watching their practice matches was amazing. Not to mention the school I thought was very affordable as well, especially for way back when. And that is me like, okay, if you're going to try it out, this is where you're going to try it out. And the A4 is where I'm taking my first bumps, my first ever lockup, learning to do my basic chain wrestling, and as learning what my cardio really was. A lot of people do not talk about cardio for professional wrestling, and to me, it's probably the most important thing that an athlete looking to get into this business should know. Because if you die within 30 seconds, and when you hit those ropes, you will, for the first time, you sure will die in 30 seconds. If you can't up that up after a while, you're just not, it's just not for you. If you can't handle the bumps that you're going to be taking, landing flat on your face, flat on your back, then this is just not for you. And at the A4, you learn that very quickly. You weren't going to move forward faster just because they wanted your fundamentals solid, and it was a very good place to start wrestling. As I trained there for a little bit, and then I'm heading back home from Georgia. I'm starting to find the indie shows in the area. Shows that when I first started looking around all those years, they just weren't there, and that's just how it was. That's just life for some of the southern states. Georgia is wrestling company for sure. Georgia is wrestling country for sure. Going outside of that state and moving lower to the left of our country, that things just weren't there. So I found a few indie shows around, and I am doing what a lot of people don't really do anymore these days, and that's fine. But this is what you just did back then. You're going in there and you're talking to the owner of this indie promotion. You just show up, you're talking to the owner, you're talking to the booker. Hey, what can I do for you? Because I want to be a part of your show. Yes, I have training. I'd be happy to for these basics. I'd be happy to show you what I can do. But there's a lot of, you're not just going to come in and take someone's spot. You have to earn it. And earn it doesn't mean getting beat up. Earn it means, hey, we need more security guards. So I need you to go work security for me. That's fantastic. It's not how long am I working security. It's until they tell you they have something else for you. So for some people, that could be a month. For me, it was about a year. It was about a year of being at a few shows and working security, because that's, especially back then, that's just how you were lucky enough to get your foot in the door. About a year of security, and then about 9 months of being a referee for them for a few promotions as well. Nothing wrong with that. This is just you. You hear a lot about people paying their dues, and what a lot of people think that is the hard workouts, taking the beatings, the losses and matches. And while that's a part of it, a lot of paying your dues is what can you do for this person's company? Why should I let you wrestle for me when you are nobody right now? Why do I care about you? Why should I even let you through the door? And things like that, especially back then, was how I paid my dues. Eventually, it got to the point where I was allowed to put a hood on, and as long as I was still reffing, okay, here's some battle royals, here's some multi-man stuff. When you get back here, change right back to being a ref because we still need you to ref, Gaston. Oh, okay. And slowly that goes from some matches and still doing the grunt work to, oh wow, he's pretty good at this. I really enjoy watching him. People are coming to see him. Okay, I don't need you to do this other stuff anymore. I only want you to focus on wrestling. And that is like my beginnings of pro wrestling, is paying my dues in slightly more or unorthodox ways to even be a part of a few shows, to now they can see what I can do. Now I'm learning to get better. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I was great starting out. I can watch some of those matches now and think, good Lord, what are you doing, sir? I definitely grew as time went on. To me, experience is the best teacher. Now, it doesn't mean don't work your ass off before it, because it's gonna, all that preparation really helps too. But to Gaston, the experience of working more and more, different people in different places, is how I've easily improved from the beginning to where I'm at right now, and I'll never forget it. And that's a lot of years later, is working those shows, some shows around them, because now more things are opening up, because laws are changing in different states, and now more promotions can open up, which means Gaston can now go work more places than just my home state. I eventually make my way back to working some shows in Georgia again, that I was incredibly excited about, because people that I used to train with years ago, that you kind of keep in touch with, but when you don't see them, you just don't see them, are now getting to see me, oh goodness, what, 4 or 5 years later, as the storybook Prince Gaston that I am now, that I was not way back when. And it just made me, I was, you're happy to see these people, but now it's also, I'm happy to show you, this is the skill set I have right now. This is the level that I've grown to right now. And I can't wait to show you that the beginning training that you gave me has led to this. And I think you're going to be very proud and happy to see me. A lot of things in pro wrestling is definitely, where are you going, who are you working, and what did you learn from them? And a lot of years for Gaston is that entirely. Different people, different places, as much as I can every month. There is no breaks. You're working out during the week. You're working your job to make sure that you've got a bed to sleep in, and then maybe 2 or 3 days out of your weekend, you're somewhere, you're driving down the road for hours on end, finding a place to work that'll book you, that'll pay you decently, not take advantage of you, but also for you to perform and you to be a star. And especially in the age of social media that's been around for quite some time, the whole world can see me perform and be the star that is Storybook Prince Gaston, here and here and here and here and all these different places. Which and that's a thing that led me to the Nightmare Factory that you mentioned. So all these years is me. It's just Gaston trying to get better, trying to be a better performer, trying to figure out who I am as a character, who I want to be, where I want to go. And it gets to a point where I'm getting bookings. In different states for different promotions, some very nice ones and some very silly ones, because sometimes you just don't know until you're just there working it. And things are going very nice, but I feel like I'm hitting a plateau of, I've got this character, I've got this moveset, I've got this whole presentation, and I know that it is the chef's kiss. Mwah, okay? And it didn't come overnight, as I mentioned. This is over, oh goodness, 3 or 4 years. But I'm getting all these things, but I'm still still just indie bookings. You're still just lucky to Some people, when you start out, you're lucky to get the hot dog and a handshake that everyone joke about. Yeah, that's real. That's real life. That's it sounds like a silly joke. It's no, you can have this can of Coca-Cola. Thanks for coming out, sir. Well, at least I like Coke. And then you get to maybe $10. I'm getting to a point where I might be making anywhere from $40 to $50 a booking, and that's great. It's not great money, but it's great in the sense of you could get nothing because you did when you started out. So I'm getting what I think is a decent pay. I'm going across a lot of the country and a lot of different states doing my own thing, but it's still just indie shows. I still don't feel like Gaston is exploding as a here he is kind of guy kind of thing. So in other words, I'm looking for the next thing. What am I missing out on? What do I need to know? What is going to elevate Gaston to not just be oh, that's Gaston, he wrestles, but to oh my goodness, that's Gaston, I need his autograph, he's a star. And the Nightmare Factory had just started, oh goodness, within the last year or so, and it was very noticeable. Some people that were coming out of it, but also who their coaches were, because that's what they like to go by. And if you didn't know who QT Marshall was at that time, then I would just say that you weren't the biggest fan of wrestling. There's nothing wrong with that because sports entertainment is sports entertainment. But QT Marshall was a professional wrestler. So he's running that, and it's like, okay, I know that's quality. That's Ring of Honor quality. I know exactly who this man is and what he's doing. And because it was, oh goodness, I can't think of what it was called before it was the Nightmare Factory. Oh man, that's gonna bug me later.
It was called was it One Fall? One Fall?
Yeah, One Fall Power Factory.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So that's what I was looking at, was like, I know One Fall Power Factory is something. QT Marshall, it could be the guy to either fill me in on what I'm missing, or maybe there's something I'll learn from him that I didn't know before that is that extra little power up. But by the time I'm able to get in contact with them, it's not One Fall Power Factory anymore. It's Nightmare Factory. And it's not just QT Marshall. It's QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. And that is just the biggest level up, stock rising thing that could possibly happen of, I have to go there. I have to be there. Even if one or both of them aren't there that much, I'm sure they'll be there enough to help me fill in on what I'm missing. So I'm emailing them, I'm getting in touch with them, and it's I have to be a part of this class 3. Can you please let me in? This is who I am. This is what I've done. This is what I look like. This is my athletic background, and anything they wanted to know, I was an open book and I told them. To my surprise, because to be accepted was a surprise all by itself, and I was over the mood. And the thing about that was, okay, time to turn Gaston's life upside down so I can make this work. And that's exactly what I did. And while I won't tell anyone to just, put your life on hold or throw it on the back burner, you can do everything at once. Sometimes an opportunity comes up and you just have to go with it. So turn my life upside down. I get to the Nightmare Factory, and my experience there is, oh, QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes aren't here just maybe once a week or once every other week. They're here every day. There was not a single day that I was there that they weren't there. Training is like 5 hours long. You might be in the ring for 2.5 hours. They have a nutritionist and strength and conditioning coach, and that's the other 2.5. You are working all the sweat out of your body that you think you have. There's more, because that's how hard you're working. You are changing clothes at least 2 or 3 times because we're still in the ring, and it needs to, we're trying to keep it as clean as possible. And you're sweating bullets consistently for 5 hours. And it's not just athletic stuff. We took plenty of time to work on characters, promo, line delivery, things like that, to be the entertaining television side of it, because that does matter. It matters very much. But it was also, I need to know that what you do in the ring is as good as the standards that we hold up here. And they have some pretty high standards too. The Nightmare Factory is physically the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. There's no question about it. I played football growing up, a lot of different sports. Anything that I thought could help for conditioning and cardio, I was doing it. Things like Insanity and all that jazz that a lot of people did. Like, it's real tough. DDP yoga is some of the hardest stuff I think I've ever seen in my life, even though it's technically yoga, but it's a train wreck. there is nothing I have ever done other than that will ever top the Nightmare Factory training that you did for all that time. And those men were right there with you every step of the way. There's a few other coaches there on their staff as well, like the strength and conditioning coach Ian, their nutritionist Carolyn, Coach Luke, that are there with you every day as well. But you're literally hands-on QT with QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. We're going to make sure you know this. We want to see what you can do. How can we help you improve in every facet? Not just, oh, I'm going to make you a better athlete. It's, I'm going to make you a better athlete. I'm going to make you a more entertaining performer as well. Every facet, they cover it. They're right on you about it every single day. They don't forget a thing. It is so hands-on there. And as much as I enjoyed the A4 when I first started out, this is a whole nother level. And this is a level that a lot of schools across the country, for many years, you aren't going to get that type of attention, for one, and you're definitely not going to get that type of workout. Within the last few years, I've seen some other professionals opening up their own schools that seem like, okay, this could be the thing. I've met a lot of people from Flatbacks, which is the Tyler Breeze, Sean Spears school. That is, it sounds absolutely tremendous, but that is also a very newer, last few years kind of thing. And so, to anyone that's getting on at places like the Flatbacks and the Nightmare Factory, you don't know what you're in for. It's going to be the best experience of your life. And as long as you can stick to it all the way to the end, you will be so grateful and so thankful for not only everything that they're doing for you, but the fact that when you're back on your own, back on the road, getting more bookings and attention for one thing, because that's another thing. The second you're in Nightmare Factory, yeah, people know who you are. They're trying to book you now. It's not even. I felt like that plateau was, Gaston can go and get his bookings. I've got bookings coming to Gaston now. And that was definitely not a thing before Nightmare Factory. QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes will literally stick their neck out for you if you ask them to. Any promotion that you're trying to get into, they'll speak to them for you. I don't know how many trainers did that before, if any at all, and very, very few do it now. Very few. I haven't had any issues with either of those two guys because I've gotten some bookings out there in Georgia that I thought are very good shows, very important. I had no idea how I was going to get my foot in the door, and my foot in the door is QT Marshall writing an email or Cody Rhodes speaking up and letting them know that, oh, this is Gaston. He is very good at this. This is someone that you want to watch. Give him a chance. And now I'm getting that chance. Their name alone opened so many doors that I was very surprised about. But to me, it was always the actual support that these professional stars, because that's totally what they are, were giving someone like me, who they had just met, about a Camp 3 about a year ago, who they had just met. They didn't know Gaston. They didn't know what I would be like. And after that amount of time to graduate from the factory, to get through that showcase and show them the kind of performer I could be, that's the kind of support that they would be willing to give someone like me. I don't know anyone else in this country that can or that would give that kind of support, because everyone's always worried about, covering their own necks. QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes they're there for you. They're there for their students. And I couldn't have had a better experience for them. To go a little forward to the showcase match that you had asked about a little bit. Oh my goodness, I felt like I was on TV. I never had that experience before. That showcase match there's about 3 or 4 cameras. There's their hard cam, and they've got 3 cameramen going around. They've got their commentary right there. Just watching that footage is like, oh my goodness, this is what it would be like if Gaston was on TV. The quality was so high, and I expected something, but I just wasn't sure. And when I saw my nameplate pop out, I'm watching myself wrestle Sweet Cheeks Joey Silver, and having that kind of not just the response from the crowd, because I am a little bit more used to that, but the response from people watching this that weren't there, that it's like they're watching a show. Gaston is the show now. That's never happened before, and I was just blown away by it. And that's something that those men gave to me, was that moment, that experience, that footage to let anybody else know this is what this man looks like in front of a camera. He looks like a star. You're drawn right to him. You want to see this. He's entertaining, and we're showing it to you just in a way that you would want to see it as if you were watching any professional product at home. I was so happy with with how the experience turned out. But then when the experience is over and I'm going back to watch, or I'm going back to ask for advice or support, and it's still there after all this time, there's, to me, there has never been anyone else in my life at, even close to that level that would do that for me. But these two men would. I'll give them. Oh my goodness, what's the word? I'll give them kind words and support in my body every day of the week if they would need me, because that level of kindness was not something I had ever experienced in most of these years of being a traveling professional wrestler, because that's just not what the business is, especially on an indie level. You're very lucky to meet any kind people and make any friends, and that's the world that I came up from. And to know that it can be different, especially at that top star level, it makes me so hopeful. Sorry for the giant rant. It's a lot.
No. We actually encourage that. Like everybody, that's why we actually started this. Because we don't care if we've had several people that have said, "Oh, but I've only had one match," and I was like, "I don't care if you had one match or 1,000 matches. I mean, you still have a story to tell, and we want to hear, because you never know. Yeah, maybe one." I even had to tell one person the other day. I'm like, and I'm not gonna call any names, but they were like, "Yeah, but they only had like a few matches." I'm like, "Okay, well, we had a second generation wrestler on our show. They only had one match underneath their show, underneath their belt. So if we could interview somebody like that, why not you?" And I even challenge that person. Like, I challenge you to give me a proper answer. If we could interview this person, why not you? What's the difference? What? Because their mom or dad is well known? No. You put on a show for us. You go in that ring and you put on a show for us. So we don't care if you only have that one match and you never wrestle again. But we still want to hear from you. We could care less.
Well, and you're absolutely right, because that is an experience that you wouldn't hear from someone with 1,000 matches, and that's a kindness, Remy, that comes from you guys to even give them the opportunity to have that platform to tell that story.
I'm gonna tell you this. Do you know why we out? Because I don't know if you noticed, but we've had so many people from Nightmare Factory. If you look back, even outside of Class 3, I mean, we had Kid Banner, we had Ishmael Vaughn. Outside of Class 3, we've had people like, for example, the Diamond Sheik, the man who started it all, because he was the one that told us he was training, and we met him through his brother Scooby, who we noticed on AEW Dynamite in the Scooby Doo outfit. I was like, we want, because we have another segment called 15 Minutes of Fandom, and I was like, you know what? I want to talk to that fan. I want to know what his story is, because I'm like that. If I see a fan in some outlandish getup, I'm not gonna make fun of him. Like, they're standing out. Let's make an interview happen. Turns out his brother was Diamond Sheik. He wasn't training to be a wrestler at the time. He was a fan. So we had him on 15 Minutes of Fandom. Next thing you know, Diamond Sheik tells us, "Hey, I'm gonna be training to wrestle at Nightmare Factory." I said, "Okay, well, whenever you debut, I mean, best of luck. Whenever you graduate, let us know. We'll have you on the show." Lo and behold, he sends us a video of him working out. I'm like, "Awesome, keep it up, man. We're looking forward to having you on the show." Next thing you know, we see the whole Class 2 picture.
Yep.
Diamond Sheik is in it. I said, "All right, awesome. Name a date and time. We want to have you on the show, but do me a favor as well. We want the other members of that class too, because we don't want to miss out on them either." And then we started having people like Charlie Avell, the British Wolf, Karma Dean, Hyena Hera, and then after I was like, okay, that's Class 2. There was a Class 1, and I missed the showcase for that. Went back and started interviewing those people.
Yep.
And now we're on Class 3. And next thing you know, it's going to be Class 4. We already have somebody from Class 4 coming up real soon. And then it's going to be Class 5. And then I know the person we have is from Class 6. But we're kind of skipping, but we're going to go back down to Class 4. And that's how it's gone on. So it all started from the Diamond Sheik, the one guy. And I've been very fortunate to say that a lot of those people that we had on the show have gone on to be on like AEW.
Mhm.
I saw Hyena Hera. Shout out to Hyena Hera, who we had on the show. She recently debuted, and her tag team partner from the showcase too, Karma Dean, she debuted
Mhm.
a couple months before her. So it's always great. Like, and that's another thing I always say. Like, I always tell our guests, like, we don't know where you're gonna be in a year or two. We don't know, and I even say this now. We don't even know where you're gonna be in a day, because we've had photographers that we had on our other segment, and then lo and behold, the next day, a promotion announces, "Hey, yes, these two photographers are now our official photographers." So life is funny. It's like Forrest Gump's mom said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
It changes every day. And it's just like you said, this one connection led to another, and it's nice that you got to do what you wanted to begin with, and you don't know where it's going to lead, or who you could know. Like, so you brought up Kid and Ish, and it's funny to think that I wouldn't know those guys at all if I hadn't been lucky enough to be accepted to be there. And so, like, this shirt that I'm wearing right now, Kid Bandit designed this shirt at the end of our time there, and gave it to me at the showcase. The design for it, and I almost cried. I almost cried for it, because I thought it was so beautiful. But just the fact that he had made it for me, it's my favorite design I have at the moment. It might be my favorite design for quite a while, but that's like, it was a gift that came out of nowhere, and I was just like, there's no way I would have this if it wasn't for you that I met here, that I was lucky enough to even be at, that I was able to get through. Like, it's like what you said. It's crazy where things lead you to and where you're at now. Because like for you guys, you're able to be grabbing people from all these different classes at the Nightmare Factory, when tomorrow even you could see them on Dark or Dynamite, or at MLW, or some high profile indie show, or maybe on NXT. It's just, you don't know. But then when it does happen, it's one of those, wow, I can't believe it, because I was here when speaking to this person, and they were so wonderful, and now you're just happy for their success, you know?
Yeah, it's always great seeing them go on to do like big things and whatnot. And like I tell people, I'm always cheering for people. The one thing I love to see is people work hard, or is for people to work hard and get rewarded. I love that. I'm always clapping for that. And I keep clapping people's success until it's my turn. You know, I'm always like that. So I'm always hoping. I hope we see Gaston on AEW or WWE real soon. And
Oh
I'll be
man.
like, yo, Rob. All right, I did it to Rob. Rob could tell you, we had a guy named Danny Limelight, and I was like, yo, Rob, check out AEW Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on? He's like, oh snap, it's Danny Limelight. I'm like, yeah, we just had him on the show, And it's always a great thing when you see people, just progress and do big things. It's not even for clout chasing. I mean, like, it's just a great thing to see, that we like to see. And we've been fortunate to say we've had people that have been on our show that went on to be signed to WWE and AEW, and it's a great feeling to see. So I just got like two more questions
Yeah.
before I turn to Rob. So Showcase 3 is pretty much over. It's been over now. You got the congratulations. Even though from what I saw, Joey Silver was the one that the crowd was chanting for. Everybody was going wild for Joey Silver when that picture came out. But you didn't let that keep you back. You pulled out the win, and you became the true victor. The happy ending for the StoryBook Prince.
That's right.
But I gotta ask you. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Disney, with how versed you are in Disney. But if you had to pick, if Gaston had to pick a fellow prince, or to team up with, who would he pick? My guess would be either Aladdin or Prince Eric for some reason, but I could be wrong.
So here's the thing about it, and it probably sounds terrible, because yes, I do know what my name is. I would probably actually pick Prince man, I know I have this right. Prince Christopher, which is when the beast turns back into a human. That's probably who I would pick right off the bat.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, so I'm definitely, so you asked, you weren't sure how much Disney I know. Yeah, Gaston knows a lot about Disney. This name didn't come out of thin air, sir. And it's my favorite. It's my favorite film for sure, hands down. I think it's held up for so long. I didn't even see it until my early 20s. I No, I know, right? I'm a grown adult man, and I'm like, this is amazing. Why don't I know what this is? I would pick Prince Christopher. That would be my tag team partner, and we would wipe the floor literally with everybody else. And so I do have a little bit of reasoning for that, which I know it's a cartoon character, but this is what it is. Um, this is the guy that, whether he is in that beastly form or not, he learned how to fight and be violent. And just because your body is back to normal does not mean that experience has disappeared from his mind. It didn't. He remembers everything that he did in that form. And to me, that would be the most dangerous person to have, which is why I want him as my partner. The rest of them are literally lucky to get by. Like, okay, so you mentioned Aladdin and Prince Eric. So, like, I get that Aladdin is more street smart, street rat kind of thing. He's not a fighter though. I drop him like that. Prince Eric is Prince Eric is spoiled. He's just a spoiled, never left this castle and done nothing with my life prince. Like, if it wasn't for the Little Mermaid, he would have drowned because he can't even swim. So no, yeah, he's out of here too. There's hardly anyone that, whether they were an actual prince or they just consider them a Disney prince, that I think measures up to Prince Christopher the Beast. So that's an easy answer.
Wow, yeah. Prince Gaston and Prince Christopher. That'd be a crazy. I could see it now. Like,
So like, if Gaston didn't die in that movie, that's the sequel. That's the story to watch, hands down.
wow,
People would want to see that.
that would be kind of like a bromance, but like a bit of like kind of like sibling rivalry. Because I could imagine the sequel. But okay, things don't work out between Prince Christopher and Belle. I'm improvising right now.
No, yeah, yeah.
You guys are still like, yeah, nobody could do it like me, Gaston. I'm strong. Blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, yeah, but I still got the girl. Yeah, but she left 2 weeks afterwards. Come on, man. I mean,
Oh,
bro, like,
you
just a
can
single.
have those jokes, but so like, the way that I see it is hero and villain, and then there's the greater villain to come to, kind of thing. And that's like a oh goodness, that's who am I thinking of? That's like Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man and Green Goblin coming together to fight Venom. Like,
Yep.
that's what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, complicated friendship, definitely.
It's the best
Yeah.
kind, or at least to
So,
watch it.
so my last question, outside of Sting, I know that one of your dream matches would be, to either work with Sting or
If I could get a singles, you have no idea. If I could just get a singles match.
that would definitely, I'll definitely be like, yo, he actually did it. He made it happen.
I
But
need 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking for.
yeah, your coach Cody went back to WWE, but when
Mhm.
he left initially, which was circa, I think, 2016, 2015, I guess.
Mhm.
Well, I can't remember, somewhere around there. He actually
It's
had
like
a
6 years
list.
ago, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually had a list of opponents that he wanted to wrestle in the near future, and
Mhm.
subsequently other wrestlers started doing the same thing. So, who are Prince Gaston's top 5 opponents that he'd want to wrestle in the near future? It could be from anywhere: WWE, AEW, Impact, Indies. I mean, I'll say the reason why I say the big leagues is, like I said, anything could happen. You never know. Life is
Oh yeah.
funny.
Oh yeah.
Or you could get that call from Vince. Hey, is this Gaston? Yeah, we want you for a booking. WB Raw. You're gonna go against such and such. Or AEW, Tony Khan could be like, hey, we want you for AEW Dark or Dynamite or Rampage. You're gonna go going up against this person. So, who are your top 5?
Okay. I definitely have a couple for sure. Uh, Sting is number one. There's no question. Just a few minutes is all I want. Number two is easily AJ Styles. It's it was someone so different from Sting, but I definitely think that might have been my second. Obviously, I'm an older man. My second. This is like a person I just latched on to, the way that I latched on to Sting, even though they're very different. So Sting, AJ Styles. Um, oh, this is very tough. I definitely, I don't know when I'll get it, and I want it for real, not training, because I got training. I want Cody Rhodes. He's in that top five. hands down. Oh man, let's see here. A lot of things for me are always I want to wrestle everyone. You're all so different that it would blow my mind just to know that I'm on that level of all of you. That I would even have the opportunity to do that. I've hardly ever sat down and thought about specifically I have to make it to this person. To just know that I was at that level and that I could be there consistently was always the thought process. And whoever comes my way, awesome. Oh crap! Actually, number 4 is the Miz, hands down,
Okay.
hands down. I don't know. Couldn't leave him out. Let's see here. Ooh, I want it to be a good one. Because I've only got one more left. Let's see here. This is so tough. Because like I like so many people, but when I think top 5, I know it needs to be people that were important to me as a person as well. But also like I want that level of match. Um, Jeez. I don't know if I can give you a top 5. Those 4 are very close to being the reason that I am what I am. And they're the only ones that are super important to me. So QT Marshall is totally an honorable mention just because of my experience at the Nightmare Factory with him. I would like that real television match with him, but it's not the same as the reason that I am here is because of guys like Sting and the character that I am today being the Miz, the inspiration that my size won't limit me, AJ Styles, and again the first. This is a star that I'm meeting that took the time to help me when it comes to that level of Cody Rhodes. Like it's just there's a reason they're easily a top 4. I can't think of another single person that has had an impression on me that has changed my personality and the reason that I am here today outside of those 4 men. There's a lot of people that have helped me along the way and things like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like ignoring where I came from and how I was brought up. But the reason that Gaston is what Gaston is and is where Gaston is honestly those 4 people alone. But now whether they know it or not, because I have never said those words to Cody Rhodes and I have not met the other 3. But if I was ever in a position of I'm here and I am your colleague, I'm easily going to have the talk with all 4 of those men, or I hope to. They're not all that far up there. Sting still got plenty of years, if not performing, left in his life. I've got plenty of time to grab him. But other than that, it's really just got to be those 4. There isn't a 5.
Awesome. Hopefully, AJ Styles definitely wouldn't mind seeing that. But in the meantime, maybe I don't know if you know this guy, but there's a man that goes by the name of Air Paris that once
His tag team partner from back in WCW.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I consider him like a Georgia legend pretty much. Like to me, like you
Oh,
can't be in Georgia and not know who Air Paris is. Shout out to Air
hands
Paris.
down.
Really nice guy. We had him on the show too. But hopefully, you can get to, mixed up in the ring with him. I always, man, if I could quantum leap back into like somebody's body and tell Air Paris, no, stick with AJ Styles. Bro, don't leave, no, because you mentioned it in our show, and when I saw these 2 work, I'm like, now Air Paris wasn't the AJ Styles was the more high flyer too. Air Paris did some high flying, but he was mostly the ground guy. They complement each other. I'm like,
Oh, definitely.
I remember for years growing up, I'd be like, where is Air Paris? I see AJ Styles, but what happened? And then I finally got to ask him what happened. He mentioned it too, and it was nothing crazy. I mean, it's just like he just needed a break and and whatnot. But really great guy. If I could quantum leap back, I'd be like, look, stay with AJ, man. You guys are gonna go far. You're gonna be the greatest tag. You're gonna be one of the greatest tag teams. You probably have the biggest rivalries, like Shawn and Marty, or Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair, or Cena and Orton. Just stick with it.
The thing about with Air Paris, you talk about quantum leaping back into a body. If I could put the adult me now back there towards that what is that, like 2000 or whatever, because that at that time, with the knowledge I have now, so I would know what AJ Styles is going to be or what he is capable of. So like that would be the tag team match of, oh my goodness, this is the team that I have to wrestle with, is because first of all, there's AJ Styles right there, but Air Parrish, you are absolutely right. It's a missed opportunity. It's a crying shame that we didn't get more of Air Paris going forward. And I'm sure that what he's doing was the right choice for him for a much happier life. And I will never knock that. But man, if I could have just had, if I could be a little older, so I could have been a little older then. And if he had stuck around just a little bit longer, maybe I could have caught them somewhere along those indie days or the very early TNA days. And that could have been something. And nowadays, like I said, with my 4, I'm just hoping that I can catch up to them fast enough before they would like to take it easy for the rest of their life, because it's just one time, just get them one time.
Hey, you will. You keep on going the way you are, you'll make it there. I'm speaking it into existence, man. Trust me. But I'm gonna turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, man? How's your Sunday been today?
Dude, today has been fantastic, Rob. I've been hanging out with a few buddies of mine that are also independent wrestlers, and it was definitely one of those, let's relax from the show last night. Let's enjoy our Sunday. Let's go out and eat something very nice that we almost never do together. It's been a very, very relaxing Sunday.
Well, that's good. That's good. How's the weather down there, man? Is it springtime, summertime yet? Because
So honestly,
it was almost 70 today.
So
Here,
like
Delaware.
up here right now where I'm at, it definitely feels closer to summertime today. Because I think, I think it's like 80 where I'm at right now.
Woo.
84, excuse me.
Oh, wow.
I know it's going to cool down later in the week, but like this weekend was definitely, it feels like summer and it's still April. I'm going to need you guys to calm down for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So, man, I was doing a little research, man. Your finishing move, is it called Once Upon a Time?
I call it Happily Ever After, actually.
Happily Ever. Okay. Now, that thing is smooth, man. Where'd you come up with the idea for that?
Oh, goodness. I got a couple of original moves, and the thing is, it's not so much of, oh, it just hit me one day. It just bothers the ever-loving fury out of me to be doing famous people's moves or anything close to it. I can't stand it, especially when it's the maneuver that is going to be like, this is my stamp, this is my signature. I want to be doing something that no one is doing on television and hopefully the indies. But it just has to come from me. And all I can think of is, okay, I'm holding someone like I'm going to give them a neck breaker. What can I do out of this? I'm holding someone like I'm going to do a bulldog. I've got someone on my shoulders. What can I do out of this that's not the casual, the average thing? And I'm not the biggest man in the world, so making sure that I don't have to use all the power in my muscles to do something also makes it help, which has led me, as I think I mentioned it like at the very beginning earlier, how much I appreciate original technical move sets where it's momentum and moving the body around is easily my forte, and it's very helpful for me. So Happily Ever After came from, I really like doing Russian leg sweeps, but it's okay. This is a move that everyone does. What can I do to do something similar, but also not the same? If they're falling backwards, am I going to have to use more strength? Usually when people fall on their face, it's more of a trip sort of thing. So it's not so much strength for me than throwing them off balance. So I'm just holding around people. I'm thinking of how I'm holding someone in my head. And I get to a point of, I've seen some people like Matt Seidel and Paige, who they do a sweet Russian leg sweep where they're holding them like an angle slam, and it's a momentum swing. And I was like, that's very nice. But what can I do that's different from that? Because I like that idea. I wonder if they ever thought about doing that from the front. And then it was just a matter of, oh my God, you can do this from the front. I'm putting their arm around me. If I can strong enough to pick up a leg and then just swing it back, they're going to land flat on their face. And the way that I'm falling on them is an easy push back right into a pin. It's one of those things where I'm just thinking of original moves all the time, and something will just come to me one day while I'm thinking of 50 moves I've seen in a row. And it's like, okay, how can I, rather than create a whole new move, it's what can I do to tweak this? What little details can I change to make this more for me? And the more details I can change, the more of the actual move can then also be changed. Happily Ever After totally came from me nitpicking Russian leg sweeps into a swinging face bump that I think is absolutely gorgeous. Again, I've used it. I have a signature move where it's literally a swinging Russian leg sweep that came about while I'm trying to figure out Happily Ever After. I have them in Russian leg sweep position. We're bending forward, and then suddenly I am swinging them to the side like Sister Abigail, and we are in the air spinning as we then take our bump. I call that one Fairytale Falls. I'm just trying to figure out one move from a certain instance, and then I pull two out of it. There's a couple of original moves that I have that I know I don't see these anywhere. I'll get super angry if I do, because I want to be the first one to do them, especially on television. But a lot of that, it's just me every day thinking, man, what's something new that I can do? But I don't want to do it if everyone and their mom is doing it, or if the current heavyweight champion, or any champion for that matter, on television is doing this move. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything close to that, because I want you to think of Gaston when you see any move that I do. I don't want you to be like, oh man, he did that guy's move from SmackDown. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. I just appreciate creativity and originality, and I blow that smoke out a lot too. So it would be, I don't know how I could live with myself if I wasn't following my own principles that I'm constantly preaching. So having at least a handful of original moves, original looks, original poses, original anything, and having to be as creative as I have to get it, is the kind of thing that if I'm preaching it, I need to be doing it myself, and I'm prouder of myself for it. And then that leads to things like, from what you guys have, sure what you saw at the showcase, because I know I did Fairytale Falls then, and I've done Happily Ever After on plenty of indie shows, and I got plenty of footage up on my socials for it, where it's like, you're not going to see these moves anywhere else other than Gaston. And the funny thing about it is, because of what social media is, you can find and discover so many things. And I know more than just the three of us have seen these moves from me. And either they just can't figure out how to do them, or they're not able to pull them off, or they just can't wrap their head around doing anything other than a clothesline and a DDT. And that's fine too. But that's not what you're going to get from me. I'm here to give you a show you haven't seen before. And it's very important that I do that. So however, to me, it doesn't feel like work, honestly. It's not however long it takes, I'm going to put the work in. This is just what I want. This is what I care about. So eventually it's going to happen naturally, and I'm going to find something. And I've been lucky enough to find multiple things. So if anything ever happens to be taken from me one day, because the second I see any of these moves on a television set that's not me, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm all about just me, for that matter. But with that being the case, if I were to ever see any of them on television, well, that's okay. I got 5 other moves in the back that you've never seen before. I've got 5 other ways to give you this promo you've never heard before. Do whatever you need, because I'm going to catch up to you eventually, and I'm going to be just as original then as I am now.
That's right. That's right. That's what I like to hear. Now, you were talking about you were at a show and all last night and all. When is your next show? Do you have one coming up this weekend, next weekend?
So I do have a couple of things coming up that I'm excited about, and I'm going to be posting them on my socials. But there is actually a very big show that I am very excited about that's coming up July 2nd. They're in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I love this name to death. They're doing the Catalina Wine Mixer Part Deuce. And I did the show last year, and it was huge. And the surprise to me about it was the state of Arkansas, while there is independent wrestling there, is not one of the states that come to mind, especially not compared to Georgia. And the show last year was an amazing turnout. And I think it's because there's not a lot of promotions there, but the fans are still there. So that July 2nd, that is happening again, and I am ecstatic to be at the Catalina Wine Mixer again. It's going to be huge, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to be able to get on the streaming service to watch it as well, because I don't know if they got Fight or if they got something different. But I know it's going to be streaming. So even if you can't be there in person like last year, well, now you're gonna be able to watch it this year online, which to me is like, oh, more eyes on this show that I think is going to be absolutely wonderful, that I am easily one of the headliners on. Oh yeah. Anybody that wants to know about the Catalina Wine Mixer, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm excited for it. That is like I'm excited for all my shows, and I'm always going to put on a good performance. But there are some that, as soon as you get booked on them, you know, okay, this is a huge opportunity. Like for this show, one of the big names they have on the show coming up is Gangrel. I am ecstatic to be sharing a locker room with Gangrel. And who knows what could come from that, and any of the other people that are going to be there on that show. But the Catalina Wine Mixer for July 2nd is the next big explosive. Here's your big time show, Gaston. And if anyone watches anything that I do anytime soon, I hope to Lord that it is the Wine Mixer show. It's going to be insane.
Now, is Arkansas the farthest you travel so far for wrestling?
I've been in this most of the southern and southeastern states. I've had a few bookings in up in Chicago as well. Right there inside and outside the city. Right before I went to the Nightmare Factory, I had an Evolve tryout, and I probably should have mentioned that earlier. That was definitely one of the ones of I thought it went well, but clearly I'm missing something. And that is my epiphany of I need to figure out what it is I'm missing. Because then a few months later is me getting accepted into the Nightmare Factory. I've been to Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Alabama is because of one of my Nightmare Factory people. Love AK to death. Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina. So not too many states for traveling all over the country, but definitely a good handful of here it comes. I at least in the next year or two, I will have wrestled in every state in this country. It's going to happen, and there's no doubt about that. And I'm hoping within the next year or two, I am consistently on someone's local television as well, because that is also going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to take no for an answer. So when it comes to getting around, I definitely think I'm getting there, especially. But and Arkansas, of course. I don't know why I didn't say that. We started with it, but definitely getting around has been more of a southern southeastern, because that's my working area kind of thing. Because if you're traveling anywhere, people will tell you 5 hours is local. You get in the car and get used to it. Going all the way to like Savannah, Georgia. So like there I am at the edge of the dang country, is about like a 12 hour drive if you're doing that show. But it's a damn good show to be on. And I got I got booked, and there was no way I was going to miss it. And then it became one of the mainstays for a good chunk of time. I'm very happy with how much I've traveled so far. I feel like a lot of growth came from the last couple of years for sure. That I wish I had done sooner, because I knew whether I'd be further along, or at the very least that fan base would just be that much bigger from being able to get to more states. But you can't change the past, and all I'm going to do is make sure that within the next 2 years that that wrong is righted, and you will hear of Gaston in every state that you go to.
Now, if you come up to Delaware, man, I work for 1CW and stuff, man. I ref, ring announce and all that, man. Hopefully, man, I come up there, man, I can, announce you in the ring, or maybe even ref a match of yours or something, man. That'd be awesome.
Dude, I'll look at their social media as soon as we're done for 1CW. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we're on local TV here too, man. Well, regional TV. Delaware, Maryland, Virginia.
Oh, that's great.
I think Pennsylvania, New Jersey. If you're in the, maybe if you're in that area,
dude, that's still around there. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. No, yeah, right here, man, is what my first main event, man. Right there, man. I main evented the first match, man. Main ref the title match, man. Oh man, I was nervous.
Oh man, I remember those days when they took me from security at my first promotion, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to be reffing this time." So the reason that happened was because apparently their two refs just called out or didn't show up.
Mhm.
And so my first show, I'm reffing every match. And so here's the main event title match. It's a TLC match between these guys that I thought were very big deals, and I'm right there with you. I am freaking out. And the thing is, they're both cracking jokes in the ring with me like we've known each other for years. And I'm just like, I've never spoken to you before. Is this okay? Is this okay to be silly? What's happening? Like, I'm right there with you. I remember those butterflies from way back when. Oof.
Yeah, especially funny story on that one because earlier in the day, I'm like, man, I gotta get something to eat, and I ate McDonald's, and usually McDonald's, I'm all right, it gives me a little gas and stuff, but I was like, you know what, I should be good like later on tonight or whatever, man. I'll keep my bedroom window open and points where I should be all right. But now the nerves and everything combined, when I was up there, I was just like, and they were like, dang, man, was you? I was like, my bad, that's me, what I mean? I was like, I'm sorry, I'm blowing you all out or whatever, man. I was like,
Okay,
but
so
it has nerves or whatever.
this has not led to like me starving myself, but times like that, no, yeah, I learned when to eat and when not to eat, and it wasn't even a question of, oh, don't eat this, you can eat this. No. I'll get some food when the show's over. Or, okay, if I eat right now, I have like an hour and a half or 2 hours to digest. I'll be all right. And that has stuck with me to this day because I am terrified of what could happen in the middle of that ring.
Yeah. I eat light. I'll eat light. I'll eat some. I like come home after ring setup or something to eat some toast or just something real light. Maybe like a sandwich or something. Just something light. I mean, nothing crazy. Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to have anything happen. We're on TV.
Well, the thing is, after a while, you meet those people that something has happened. So I know it can happen. And I just
Yeah,
will never let myself be in that position.
yeah. But if it does, I'll be like, well, I'm not the only person that's happened to, so I'll be all
No,
right.
I
I'll
still
be
don't
all
want to
right.
go through the moment of it actually happening. It's like, it'll be okay later. But for right now, no.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, you can just feel that embarrassment, like, oh my gosh. Oh man. Uh. So traveling around, over there in the south and southeastern states and stuff, man. Do you have any funny travel stories that happen? Like maybe you've come across Bigfoot or a chupacabra or something down there in Texas, man. Cause,
Honestly, I think that when it comes to, I love that everyone and their mom has wonderful travel stories. I am very boring with that because most of the time it's just me. It's just me traveling by myself. There isn't anyone with me, and that's just how it is. That's for a lot of performers. That's just how the life is. You spend most of it on the road, and most of the time you are alone. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy when I pull into a major city that I'm not getting into some wreck with the other 4 million people that live in this one area, and it freaks me out. Um, for the most part, I'll be lucky to travel with like some of the friends that I was hanging out with today have traveled with me to a lot of our Georgia shows, and it's easily just us being silly, ridiculous Southern carnival wrestlers in this crazy life that we have. But there's never been anything like wacky or wild or supernaturally or anything that's ever happened. And so that's the thing, is that I'm happy about that because when I'm not at home, all I care about is getting back home safely. So, and most stories that people have are like, yeah, my car flipped upside down and we were okay and we finally got to the show. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to break the ring in half. I don't want it to show up to some gas station that's getting robbed, but I still got my gas. Like, no. I am when it comes to traveling stories, I am very boring because I am very safe. And anything that even looks or smells the hintest of sketchiness is, no, we're just going to keep going until we get to the next place or a nicer area. No, we're not doing that. So the closest of that is my for silly travel stories. It's just my excuses of, Brian, why don't you want to stop there or anything like that? And I'm just kind of like, no, I don't like it. We'll talk about it later. We can go to this other gas station that's like 20 miles down the road. I'm sure we'll make it. No.
Now I did. Now I also always ask and stuff, man. Like what are some new? Because I always watch the same like movies and TV shows over and over again. It's like comfort stuff. But are there any new movies and TV shows that you're into right now that you're watching? Because I'm always trying to get some, get some new things to watch.
And so, like, it's funny that you mentioned that because the newest thing I've watched was actually an older movie.
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoy theater and musical theater as well, and I think a lot of that has come into just my character as Gaston as well. So the other day, I'm watching a movie called Noises Off, and Noises Off has Michael Caine in it, Christopher Reeves, John Ritter, Nicolette Sheridan. Like here's a lot of big name people as time went on. I'm sure they were big names then as well. It's just I didn't know the difference. I was young, and I absolutely loved that movie because it's like the real life of a theater actor. It begins with them in rehearsal the day before a show. They're not ready. So Michael Caine's being this sassy director with them and just giving them the shit so they can get through rehearsal. I'm enjoying it. The movie goes forward and it's them traveling to different towns to different shows, and progressively the show gets worse and worse and worse because they're all at their throats backstage. And then it wraps around to them making it to Broadway, and they actually put on a good show for once. And I don't know what year that movie is. It's got to be like early 90s, yeah, like 80s, 87, something, or 85. I absolutely adored it. And other things that I enjoy is especially if they've got English speaking dub in it, is a lot of Japanese movies. So on Netflix recently, they put in they're starting to put in all the Rurouni Kenshin movies, the live action ones. And I am head over heels for a good samurai movie or a good kung fu movie. Oh, boom, here I am. I was loving those Rurouni Kenshin movies to death. I think the newest Ip Man with Donnie Yen is on Netflix as well, and that's my go-to kung fu movie for sure. Any like more recent, yeah, it's the Ip Man movies. I think they're absolutely fantastic. There was a man, Hercule Poirot. What is that movie called?
Yeah. On Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile. That one and Murder on Orient Express.
So I saw the old Murder on the Orient Express, and I watched that one the same night. I haven't seen Death on the Nile yet, but I know that just popped up. You'll easily catch me for a good Agatha Christie murder mystery, and the fact that they're starting to make the Hercule Poirot books into the movies, or at least for us in modern times again. Oh, I'm all over that. Ooh, there's nothing better than a good murder mystery. I don't know if you ever got around to seeing Knives Out not too long ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. I got nothing against all of the Marvel stuff that everyone and their mom is watching. I enjoy it as well, but these are more in my area of you've got my attention. I am excited for your story, and usually they have very good actors in them as well, because I think you have to when you're doing something a little bit more dramatic like that. Because if anyone has seen Murder on the Orient Express, definitely you'll be like me. We need to go watch the River Nile like right now. I swear I'm going to get to it. And then, another big thing, because I haven't watched it yet, I'm going to, is I know they just put the new Batman on HBO Max, and I know it's 3 hours long, and I don't care. I'm going to make the time for it. It'll just have to wait till tomorrow, though. Definitely, any most popular things are great. But if you can find a good kung fu movie, a good samurai movie, a good murder mystery, let me make some cheese dip in a crock pot and let's watch this together. I'm all for it.
Man, yeah, I like good murder mysteries and all, man. That's like speaks to my soul because my mom and dad, when I was growing up, that's what they watched. They watched Columbo. Ooh. They watched Rockford Files. They would watch, the Murder, She Wrote. You know what I mean? Like, yep. I would be like, I'm like, y'all are in your 30s and 20s. Is the why you watching Murder, She Wrote and stuff? And then as I got older, and I'm like, yeah, I like, this, and I was like, I like Murder, She Wrote, but see, I watch it because I'm like, I have a suspicion she's really the killer and everything because that play everywhere she goes, somebody dies. You know what I mean? She's always like right there at the crime scene. So I'm like, all right, how did she frame this person? That's how I watch it. You know what I mean? But I just like having a little fun with it.
It's funny that you said that because every now and then you're on the internet and you're just reading like fan theories or whatever. I have read that fan theory that she is the real killer for every episode, and I'm just like, this makes so much sense. I just need someone to officially say yes, this is what's happening. Oh,
Because I remember I was watching one episode. She was literally like, I forget where she was at. She went to England or something to visit a cousin or
yeah.
something, you know, relative. And she was jogging early in the morning, right? And she hears a screaming. It's up in the thing. She's like, oh my God, you know, what's up in there? And then, oh, she finds the dead body, right? So before all the cops and all come taking fingerprints, she's all looking around. And so, oh, hey, you know, I'm just like, no, okay.
I'm waiting for the real final episode where it turns out it's like a montage of it was her all along. She's just schizophrenic or something, or whatever they need for her, or maybe she just flat out admits that she enjoys it, and it's like, yes, I got away with it after all, and then that's the real end. It's like Quantum Leap, because you mentioned that earlier, Remy. Because they're
Love that
bringing it
show.
back. They're bringing it back. And so the real Quantum Leap didn't really have an ending. Like it's you do the last episode, and it's like the guy just kept jumping through as time went on. And so now that they're bringing it back, I'm 100% hoping that it's like, all right, here's the real ending. This is where he ended up, either getting back to his body or back to something, and this is how he made it work, or yada yada yada. Like I hate it when you have like a super interesting premise for a show or a movie, and there's no answer for it. It's just, hey, here's the TV show. We kept on going. It was great. There's all these seasons, and then the last episode is just another episode, rather than here's the end of the story. Every Final Destination movie that keeps coming out, I'm waiting for the real story or the real ending of what death really is, or how it can really be stopped, or whatever. And it's just another filler movie, and they get me every time, and I just want to strangle someone when it's over.
Well, if there's any consolation to the Quantum Leap ending, Al did get his wife back. Because if you noticed, throughout all that time, I was saying, man, my wife left me. And it was because he was a prisoner of war. And I guess they may have declared him dead, or she thought he was dead, and she moved on and went out with some other guy. And thus that led to him. And if you remember the series, he was always like, he had these kind of womanizing vibes about him. But once he actually, or I guess Sam fixed it for him. Once Sam was able to fix it for him, she waited for him. He came back. They got married. Oh, spoiler alert for those of you that have not watched Quantum Leap. I apologize. So I'm gonna give a big spoiler alert. So if you want, you can mute it. Give me like, I guess, a whole couple seconds or whatnot. Or what? Yeah, my bad. But
30-year-old show.
It said in the end that his wife waited for him. He went back to his wife. When he went back, he found her waiting for him. They had 3 daughters. That was a good ending for Al. I really hope that they actually, because I know they're rebooting it. It's a whole Scott Bakula's not coming back, and unfortunately, Dean Stockwell, who played Al Kovici, I think was his last name, he passed away. But I would like for them to actually have maybe his legacy, or maybe one of his daughters make an appearance. That would be kind of cool as well too.
Like some kind of either that, or some kind of line drop that confirms this is what happened, and it's canon or whatever, and then they move on with the show. Like oh totally.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one good thing that happened in the ending. But who knows? I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how they do this.
I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm totally willing to give it the chance. So,
however, one has to wonder. It's been 30 years. We've had several things happen since then. So you can only imagine where they're going to end up leaping and so on. I'm just excited to see what happens. But Rob, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard about the reboot too, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for it. I just hope Scott Bakula has like a cameo, like he leaps into his body and he's like an actor or something, you know. And he's like, I'm on NCIS out in New Orleans, what, you know, or something like that.
The thing too with that is because I know he's with Remy, because I know he's not coming back, and that's right now. Let's see how the show does. They'll get him. Yeah. Everyone's got their price. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll get him. Yep.
Now you're talking about It Man. I love those movies, man. Sometimes I'll just sit there and like, man, I just want to watch a good fight scene. And I'll go on YouTube, It Man versus the 10 black belts, or It Man versus the 3 karate masters. Like when you fought Sammo Hung on that table right in the thing, man, they're just like, table breaks, and they're just like, I'm like, yes.
It Man is totally how I discovered Donnie Yen, and now it's just like, oh, Donnie Yen's in this movie? Well, I guess I'm going to watch it now. All
He
right.
has. He's in one of my favorite underrated games, Sleeping Dogs on
Dude, I
Xbox
have
or
that game.
whatever.
It's fantastic.
Yes,
Mm.
I'm like getting ready to play to go through another playthrough soon of it. Oh man, that game is awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, Donnie Yen, yeah, he's the man. On there, my brother back in the day, The Raid was on there, and my brother watched it one time.
Mm.
Was like, "You need to see this movie, The Raid." I'm like putting it on. I'm like, "All right, all right." And then I watch it, and I'm like, "Yes, this is like one of my favorite kung fu movies ever, man. This movie is just nonstop action." Oh, and then two, oh man,
Oh yeah. I really
yeah.
enjoy it. There's another one that's called. I think I just grabbed it randomly. It's called the Iceman. And I
Mm.
wasn't sure what I was expecting from this. And it's like Donnie Yen is some old school whatever general from way back when, and he got frozen in a glacier, and they thawed him out in the future. I say the future; it's like modern day future kind of thing. Anyways, they thawed him out, and he's doing this thing. And I thought this might be just some random silly movie, and it was like, no, it had a fantastic story. And the thing is, because I don't think there's an Iceman 2, but the end of the movie is alluding to a sequel, and this movie has to be at least like, oh, I don't know, 5 years old, or at least when I got it, something like that. And I don't know if that means something. It might mean nothing is ever coming, and that's fine. But especially nowadays, rebooting something to use as a sequel, if not just a reboot, that's not just an American thing. Everybody's doing it for their countries. That's Bollywood and Japan, easy. I don't know how many. There's like two Yin Yang Master movies on Netflix right now. It's Yin Yang Master, and the other one is Yin Yang Master Dreams of Eternity. And the thing is, literally, it's this character, and it's the twist on the same story. And it's weird that they came out at the same time on Netflix. That's what it really threw me off about. But I totally have my pick, because if you were to watch just the Yin Yang Master on Netflix right now, that's the only one you need. You're getting the whole story for the main character, Ching Ming, and I think it's gorgeous. It's wonderful, and I've got nothing against subtitles. I don't, and I can enjoy a good movie. I love it when there is clear, not ridiculous English dub, so I can just listen and enjoy myself. Yin Yang Master is a fantastic newer movie.
That's right. Yeah, I have to check it out, man. Yeah, cause I love that on Netflix, man. I love the kung fu movies, man. I'm always like, man, if I want a kung fu flick, they got one on there. The Night Comes for Us. It has the guy from both the dudes from the Raid in there, and they're both
Yeah,
one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. That was a real good one too, man. Oh yeah, yeah.
man, that's the thing about Netflix for sure, but most streaming sites is all that they're getting a lot of like Eastern and Bollywood films, and that's becoming a normal thing of, hey, here's your selection you can look at. It's your
Hmm.
regular action comedy, and then bam, here's
Hmm.
your foreign films right off the bat. These are just as popular as these. And I'm like, oh well, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. That's awesome that you're giving it to me now.
Hmm.
This was not
That's
beginning
right.
Netflix, but I love that it's this now.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Now, yeah, man. But before I don't want to take up all your time, man, because I know
Yeah.
you're a busy person and all that stuff, man. But before I go, and pass it on back to Remy, I do want to say, thank you for, taking time out of your day, come on, chat with us, man. Definitely had a blast. I wish you nothing but the best in your career going forward. I hope you get to all 50 states, you start winning belts everywhere you go, man. So you're
What's
just like,
happening?
Ultimo Dragon, you know what I mean? Just, with like,
Oh
100
my
belts or whatever, just like that.
God.
Yeah, just everywhere, just
Mm.
everywhere, man. And I wish nothing but the best for you, your family, and all that good stuff, man.
Gaston, thanks a lot. First off, congratulations. I know it's been a year, but congratulations on graduating Nightmare Factory Class 3. I know it wasn't easy. I know it was 3 months/12 weeks of intense training. I've heard people have, not particularly from your class, but people that have actually trained and graduated have said that people have joined halfway through, they left, they dropped out, couldn't handle it, or for other reasons, but you stuck with
Hmm.
it. You're actually on that that class picture, that class 3 picture.
Hmm.
Now when you go and you now when the next wave of classes come through, they'll see that class 3 picture. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the Nightmare Factory building. It's
Oh
up
sure.
there. They'll be like, oh snap, look, that's class 3. Wait a minute, that's Michael Martinez.
Hmm.
He just wrestled his brother Damian Priest. Wow, that was a hell of a match. Wait, isn't that Kid Bandit?
Hmm.
No, he's one of the biggest superstars, and now he also makes some fly gear. And have you seen his T-shirts? Oh wait, that's Gaston. Yo, Gaston had that bomb of a match against the Miz, and he pinned him too cleanly.
Man.
So you like I said, man. I mean, you guys are pretty much like, other classes gonna be looking at y'all, man. And that showcase 3, I always enjoy the showcases, man. There's never a moment that I don't remember from at least there's never a time where I don't remember at least one moment from each of y'all's. Y'all's is actually there's 2 of them. There's one where you hit Joey Silver with the storybook.
Mm.
Uh, apparently hit him. I don't know. I didn't, what I mean, but
No, yeah, he caught it, but referee caught him with that book, and then I just took a pin.
Yeah. And then there's Parker Lee hitting the Canadian Destroyer on Raiden. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Raiden don't kill me.
The fact that you brought that up, though, I was just so proud. So Raiden wasn't supposed to get that match, and he fought his ass off to get it. And the fact that he opened our show for us, I couldn't have been more proud for him.
Yeah, that was and the battle royal. Wow, to see some of the people from Class 1, also some of like my past favorites, like and I hope I get him on the show. The Lord's Warrior. That guy had so much energy.
Oh yeah, he came a long way.
Yeah, Trip Jordy, who I hope to get on the show real soon, because he is the only person I know that trained at Black of the Brave factory. And I don't know if you know Joseph Grillo of TSF. He had a meme of Cody versus Seth. Winner gets custody of Trip Jordy. I was like, oh, they did not go there. But I would definitely love to.
That's just a joke for us.
I would definitely love to get Tripp's take on what he thought about that match. But yeah, not to digress. Congratulations. Thank you for the matches that you've given us so far and keep giving us. We at Ringside Society, on behalf of myself, Rob Bass, and our other host, Kathy Knight, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, tonight. We wish you nothing but the best in your career. We hope you actually achieve all of your goals and even more. And you get to travel not just the 50 states, but all over the world: Japan, England, Australia, any place that'll have you. We hope you get to travel as a lot as well too. It's always a great thing to get paid travel to places and do what you love. So we wish you all that as well. But before we shut down the show, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out your next appearances, purchase Gaston merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
So I'm on most of the major social medias. If you were to get on Facebook and just type in the StoryBook Prince Gaston, that page is going to pop right up. You guys can find me on Instagram, No One Quite Like Gaston. And you can find me on Twitter as well, StoryBook Gaston. I have a pro wrestling tee shop. If you just type in StoryBook Prince Gaston in the search menu, it'll take you right to my shop. Again, that's where you can find this beautiful t-shirt to find right there. And I definitely do everything that I can to make it affordable, because that is my upbringing, and anything I can do to get someone anything they would like, whether it's just my performance or my merch, I am more than willing to work out a deal, because I know what it's like to grow up and not to get to have the things from the people that you enjoy. And that's very important to me. But again, any of those Facebook, Instagram, Twitters, Gaston is just a message away for any fan, any promoter, anyone that needs to talk or is interested in my services in general when it comes to performing for their promotions. It's just a message away.
Awesome. So y'all heard this man's on social media. Make sure you give him a follow. If he's in your town, check him out. He's at your shows. It's always great to see somebody before they get signed to WWE or AEW. He has a store. He also has a pro wrestling tee store. Check it out. If you can't make the shows, this is another way you support indie wrestling: purchasing the merchandise, showing your support. Because like I said, it's always good to go to a show, and when they're like, oh snap, like a WWE show or AEW show, oh snap, Gaston is on next, he got signed. And then they're like, yeah, you could find his merchandise on AEW shop. Yo, I got this AEW shop Gaston merch. Yeah, but I got the one before he got signed. You can't get more, But who knows? Maybe he'll do a limited edition. But yeah, I got I got the one before. So it's always, it's always a great feeling because that shows that you're a true fan as well. If
Mhm.
you've been following somebody from when they were on the indies up until the big time. So follow this man, support indie wrestling. And with that being said, special thank you for the night to Nightmare Factory as well. I know y'all probably Coach Ian, he's probably not gonna see this, but y'all keep on doing a great work out there. You definitely have my attention. I'll never train, but I'll never train to be. I don't think I could be a wrestler. I'm kind of up there in age. Rob here is doing his thing as a referee, but I'll always support y'all with y'all showcases and whatnot. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. But before I do so, Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Eminem to my Royce the 5'9", and the Paul Wall to my Chameleonaire. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, find out where your next appearances, purchase Rob Bass merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch at Rob_Base82, and then Facebook, YouTube, Rob Base.
Awesome. If you want to find me on social media, not that I'm that cool anyways, but who knows? Maybe you'll hear me say something cool. You can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Instagram at the Remy Blue, and you can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. Just type in Ringside Society, and you'll see us. We're also on YouTube as well, and YouTube is where you can find a lot of our content, cool interviews like this one, like our interview with Katie Hebner, Undeniable Michael Martinez, Ishmael Vaughn, Kid Bandit, many other people from the Nightmare Factory, and many other people outside the Nightmare Factory. Definitely check us out on YouTube. Once you go there and type in Ringside Society, you'll see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. Well, with that being said, we just want to thank everybody. Oh, one more thing. We also have a Spotify. We're on Spotify, Blog Talk Radio, and we also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies for the weather that we have right now, and even tank tops for the summer that's coming up in case when you want to show those muscles. So make sure you check us out, cop some merchandise. All proceeds go back into keeping this show afloat. And we have some new merchandise coming up. And just a hint, this one's for the referees. So a lot of y'all are gonna like this one that are referees, that is, especially you, Rob. But with that being said, once again, we just want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live. We really appreciate it. We try our best to bring some of the best wrestling content to you, the fans, and those of you that are just curious about what professional wrestling is and the many components that make it go around. So thank you very much for tuning in. To those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at Golden Corral, and Rob Bass at the Taco Festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We ain't stopping. With that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very, very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for the Nightmare Factory Class 3, and one time for the Storybook Prince, the man men want to be like and women want to be with, Gaston.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And y'all don't go too far because we'll be back in, as a matter of fact, a couple of minutes with an exciting episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom where we actually interview our fellow wrestling fans. But until then, just do us 4 favors. Yes, just 4 favors. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.